That's a high value woman.
That is a long ass list. I'm sorry. Are you kidding me right now?
It is long. Yes.
Okay.
No, like do you check all of the boxes as you go along?
I don't even remember half the boxes. What? What
Okay,
do I have to keep track
so
of
a high
now?
value woman is confident, independent, capacity to be interdependent, ambitious, emotionally intelligent, respectful, good communicator, has self-respect, is authentic,
Okay.
empowered, supportive, culturally aware, blah 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 blah.
Right. Okay. Just throw. What's the high value man? Welcome to the Womanhood Lectures, where each week we bring you topics and discussions on matters that are interesting to you, the modern day woman. We hope to inspire, we hope to inform, and hopefully spark some healthy debate about all things related to your journey on womanhood. I'm one of your hosts, Yasmin.
And I'm Lyra.
We invite you to come join us, have a seat at our table, curl up with a good drink, and let's chat.
Please like and subscribe, share our content. If you can, write a comment. We really don't mind. It does help with the algorithm. If you're a guy listening to this show right now, I know it seems like a woman thing, but you might have a wife, you might have a girlfriend that would love this content. But on this particular show today, we're talking about you. So pay attention. We'd love to share our thoughts with you. And if you have any comments, feel free to share that too. And with that, let's dive in.
So today we are talking about this amazing concept that's going around on the internet.
Yeah.
About what's a high value man
And what's a high value woman?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I guess maybe we should start with at least a definition of what it seems is circulating around, right?
Well, let's start with that long list of things that seems to be there, and then we'll see if that seems right.
You want to talk about women or men first?
Oh, what do you have there?
Seems like a lot. I have women first, yeah?
Okay, let's, sure.
So a high value woman, needs to be resilient, demonstrate the ability to bounce back from challenges and setbacks, compassion, shows kindness and empathy, integrity, lives by a strong moral code and values, honesty and authenticity in her actions and interactions, self-awareness, recognizes her strength and weakness, and actively works on personal growth and development, adaptability, is open to change with grace and flexibility, generosity, is generous with her time, resources, without expecting anything in return. Emotional maturity, handles conflicts and disagreements with maturity and seeks to resolve them in a constructive manner. And gratitude, appreciates the blessings and opportunities in her life and expresses gratitude towards others. That's a high value woman.
That is a long ass list. I'm sorry. Are you kidding me right now?
It is long. Yes.
Okay.
No, like do you check all of the boxes as you go along?
I don't even remember half the boxes. What do I have to keep track of?
So a high value woman is confident, independent, capacity to be interdependent, ambitious, emotionally intelligent, respectful, good communicator, has self-respect, is authentic, empowered, supportive, culturally aware, blah 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 blah.
Right. Okay. Just throw. What's the high value man?
Oh my gosh!
To be? I'm curious.
Honestly,
I'm curious. What is all this research telling you?
Okay, so a high value man is ambitious, has grit, is confident, servitude, financially stable. I made a joke about that earlier about how a high value man should make $200K or more a year. Respectful, emotionally intelligent, good communicator, self-improvement oriented, honorable, leadership qualities, a healthy lifestyle, supportive, comfortable, and successful in his masculine virtue.
Okay. Does any man know what a masculine virtue actually is?
Should I just do this?
Yes, please. Whoever came up with that long list, has not actually lived in real relationships.
Right.
Okay, so I would say throw all of that out.
Yes.
And let's whittle it down to some very simple and straightforward, straight talk truths about men and women.
Okay,
You
so
good with that?
I know that you've worked with a lot of
I
clients
have.
in your profession. What do you feel is a high value man? Let's start
High
with.
value man. Okay, so I think of it in terms of one very specific value. And if you follow one of my favorite psychologists online, Sadia Khan, she talks a lot about this. And really, what a high value man is all about is self discipline and self control.
Okay.
If a man can have self control and self discipline in all aspects of his life, he can raise his value as high as he wants. So you
Okay.
may not start off. You may be a guy. So let's look at sort of some of the checklist points. As a man in society, I would think that you would look to have some financial stability, for example. Attractiveness, tall, dark, and handsome is sort of the old age, idea of an attractive man, right? So there are some of those things that people kind of inherently are attracted to, right? Financially stable, attractive, maybe has a respectful career, that sort of thing. And so really in all of that, if you're a man who's not 6'2", or maybe doesn't make over 200K a year
Right.
yet, you can certainly achieve those things through self-discipline. If you're self-disciplined, if you have self-control, what a high-value man really does is he's very selective about how he spends his time and who he spends his time with.
Right.
That includes who he dates, that includes his friends, that includes his business associates.
Right.
And so what makes him high value is that he is selective in those people. He is selective with his time, and he uses it wisely in order to benefit himself over the long term.
Right.
So he's always building that foundation of financial security and stability, of making himself more attractive through his health, through keeping his body fit, through healthy relationships, through good business contacts, that social network. He's constantly building all of that in order to kind of raise his self-worth and his value within society.
Right. I think they all kind of go together as well. Like when you have a self-disciplined man who, is building on his foundation, who's going to the gym, working out, taking care of his body. He's reading books and he's, trying to become more intellectual and grow and learn, all of those things kind of fall into place.
Absolutely.
He's going to end up being confident. He's going to end up being ambitious because he's going to want to do more. He's going to, I ripped it up. So he's going to be financially stable. You know what I mean? He's going to be emotionally intelligent, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Because
He's going to be developing
going to be
all
well
of
read.
those. Yep.
He's going to be a good communicator. He's going to have leadership qualities. Like these are all things that kind of come into play because he's disciplined.
Absolutely.
But that you can apply that to women as well. Right?
You can. But here's the difference that I see with women.
Okay.
A high value woman is, her hallmark of her value is loyalty.
Okay.
And so to unpack that a little bit is it's more about sexual exclusivity and being very mindful of who you have, who you allow into your space,
Okay.
right? And who has access to you as a woman.
Interesting.
Particularly sexually, because if you're looking at the dating pool, then as we were talking about in previous podcasts, body count is a thing, and sometimes and oftentimes people do care about that. And so when a woman, aside from the things that people typically look for, an attractive woman, someone who's intelligent, perhaps well educated, who sort of is respectful or comes from a respectful family, for example,
Right.
like especially in our cultures, that's a big thing. When you have all of those, that's your baseline.
Right.
That's your foundation. What kind of like separates you from other women is that loyalty aspect. Who are you spending your time with? Who are you allowing to spend time with you? How much access do people have to you, especially online? So like we were talking about before, this hoe culture, if you're shaking your booty online, you are half naked and anyone can see you that way, then you're not exclusive.
Right.
There's no mystery to you. And so that actually devalues you in a certain way. It's if you're talking about this whole concept of high value as is being discussed right now online, that's really what they're talking about. They're talking about sexual exclusivity for women, which is really interesting because it kind of
It
ties
never
into
applies to men, right? Oh
never
my
applies to
gosh.
men.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't. It
It
does in
doesn't,
a
it
way
doesn't. Yeah.
because you know, for a high value man, if he is also exclusive to only high value women, then that brings up his value too.
Right.
Right? Like if he's I don't know, hanging out with strippers and hanging out with a whole bunch of low value women, perhaps, again, by this definition, then he's not high value either.
So why do you think this concept is like being, I guess, coming to surface, and why is everybody talking about this idea, like high value
I think it's
men,
okay.
women?
I think it's the whole Andrew Tate thing. Like I think people.
Well, no, it's great. Yeah, for sure.
Right. I think people kind of were very shocked by some of the things that he was saying online, how he's
Right.
coming across, this like masculine man, and a lot of women, obviously, and even men, you know, find it really disconcerting to listen to him. But if you listen to some of the actual
Messaging,
content
yeah.
and messaging behind it, yeah, he's marketing himself in a certain way, which can be off-putting for sure,
Right.
for some people. But if you listen to the messaging, that's the messaging. The message is be a strong man. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Like
Right.
take care of the people around you. Be financially independent. Those aren't bad qualities to
Why
have.
wouldn't we want a society where men were high value? We're confident. We're like driving things. Like I think
Yes.
we have this discussion a lot
Yeah.
between me and you personally. We talk about how men have kind of just been pushed into this corner where they almost have to act a certain way and feel like I can't really be myself. You know what I mean? When Andrew Tate came into the picture, it was kind of like, well, high value man, what is that?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
But
No, he took it
he's
to-
actually doing a positive thing.
He is.
by
He's taken
pushing
it
that
to
messaging. Yeah.
an extreme in some cases.
For sure.
You know, some of the things that he says, obviously, some of the crazy videos that he's come up with. That's just part. I think that's part of his marketing.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
That being said, the message is still there. Be strong, be a leader. Like develop those skills that make you a good leader. What makes you a good leader? Self-discipline, self-control,
Right.
doing good things for yourself, setting yourself up long-term, being a provider, being a protector. Those are all healthy masculine qualities.
For sure.
You know, and for women, the thing is, you do want to have some exclusivity and some, doorkeeping as to who has access to you. That anytime that, and we know this, it's sort of basic marketing and sales. When something is a little bit exclusive or there's a little mystery to it, then you kind of look a little bit closely and you do value it a little bit more, don't you think?
No, I do. I have a question for you
Yeah.
because I know that you and I talk a lot about, ideas and ideologies and how things are being influenced. But let's just say I'm not a high value woman. Why? I mean, I'm not really that ambitious. I'm a single mom. I, live alone, and, I want to do something to like change my position or what I'm experiencing right at this current moment. How would somebody even start to identify with these concepts or ideas? Does that make sense? That's the
Yeah,
question.
I think that, it really starts with yourself. So starting to foster a good relationship with yourself, valuing yourself, meaning you are exclusive or very particular about how you spend your time, who you spend your time with, who you surround yourself with. Your tribe really makes up a huge aspect of how you see yourself
Right.
and the things that you're going to engage in. So if you're a single mom, then you're mothering, right?
Yes.
You're mothering. There's ways for you to connect with people that will help bring you up in your circumstances versus keeping you down in your circumstances. The circumstances are the way they are. However, the way you act and how you conduct yourself can change.
Right.
Right. So it's really about surrounding yourself with good people, with supportive people.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like some of this is also a mindset, right? Like how you position yourself or to start to improve or empower yourself. And I know that you have a lot of that messaging and even things that you've written to kind of help along the way. So in basic things like those little actions every single day that you can do,
Yep.
what would you think? What would you say they were?
Put your phone down first thing in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So disengaging from social media as sort of the thing that you do when you're bored.
exactly. Yeah, that's a
Finding,
huge one, I think,
yeah.
for especially women these days who just get entrenched in what's happening with the rest of the world, that they're not really focusing on their world. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. So things like that, working out,
Exercise.
exercise.
I know. It's, you know what, it's a daily habit, like
Yeah. And
something
I know
you do
that's
every
really
single
big for
day.
you.
Oh no, for sure. Like
Right.
it's always goals. Like you may not be perfect, but it's about just working every single day towards something, you know, and
Yeah.
telling yourself, I'm just going to create this habit, just like not picking up your phone
Yeah,
in the
just
morning,
like not picking up
which
your
I'm
phone in the
working
morning.
on,
Yes,
by the
yeah.
way.
First 20 minutes of your day if you can. Okay, 15, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean,
I'm
it
working
takes
on it.
15 minutes for
I'm
you
working
to
on it.
get up and go to the bathroom and do some other things. You
Right.
can fill that time. So disengaging,
Right.
engaging in healthy habits. So,
Okay.
for example, working out, eating better, and educating yourself, whether it's reading. I mean, I have the Audible app because I'm constantly listening to
To
books
books. Yes.
when I'm driving in between clients or driving anywhere, really. So when I have free time, I don't fill it with social media. I fill it with things that are going to
Help me grow.
help me grow, that I'm going to educate myself about. And so I don't know. I don't know how people, honestly, I don't have any time to watch TV. I'm not sure about you, but I really don't. Between family, between, everything
Yeah.
else, I'm either constantly listening to something or reading something when I do have free time.
Free time. Yeah.
Right? And also finding things that are important for your own self-love and self-care, right? So if you can find time in your week that's just you time, then that's very, very healthy. Yeah, and it's going to be really good for your overall self-worth and some self-reflection as well.
Right.
Journaling is a great thing to do. A lot of my clients, I tell them to journal, whether it's a gratitude journal, whether it's a success journal, like 3 things that you're really proud of, from the day that you
Right.
did, whether no matter how small they are, right? Building up that self-esteem is really key. That self-worth piece for women can be a really tricky one.
Yeah.
Really, really tricky.
And for men, like, what do you think men can do? Like, I know Andrew Tate kind of just became this like
Yeah, this
figure,
phenomenon.
right?
Yes,
That a
yes.
lot of men have followed
Yeah.
suit with, and maybe listened to his content, and hopefully, in a positive way.
I think a lot of young men really identify with him. They really do, because he's able to speak to them in a way that they understand and they
Right.
get.
Yes.
Right. And so, talking about being top G and the cars and the girls, that speaks to young men.
Right.
Let's be real. It does.
But he also has this way of saying things where a really great book that I read was "You Can't Hurt Me" by David Goggins, and
Oh,
like
yes,
it is such a
yes.
powerful book in my life. But what's great about it is like just taking your mind off all the complaining and the complaints associated with doing hard work and getting to it, which he's also sending that same messaging of, stop complaining. Like if you're not motivated, get motivated. Like stop, just wake up every day, get to work, do what you have to do. So that's where the ambition and the confidence and the financial stability and all of that stuff kind of starts to web. It's,
Yeah.
it's a web around you that protects that
Absolutely.
high value man, right? So
Yeah. I think for men, it's really helpful for them to have a structure. Men tend to respond really well to concrete things.
Right.
So when you have a routine that you follow, when you have a structure to your life, it's much easier to navigate. And for men, it can be the morning routine. Men respond very well to physical strength. I mean, it's one of the things that is a hallmark of generally of men is that they're physically stronger than women. And so focusing on that and focusing on getting stronger actually helps with their mental health.
Okay.
So that's a really
So
good
that's
thing.
like the messaging you would give to.
I think so. Like for young men, like for my son, for example, I have him involved in sports. Organized sports has been amazing for him.
Right.
And now he literally turned 13, and he just started working out on his own
Oh, wow.
in his room.
Great.
Like one day I walked in there and I was wondering what's going on. There's all this noise in there. He's pumping iron. He's doing push-ups, and I said,
awesome.
"Wow, interesting. You've always been really laid back. What's the change?" He says, "I just want to get ripped, Mom." I'm like, "Okay,
That's so cute.
okay, right?" So
Yeah, it's cute.
But I feel like this is a natural tendency for young men. They hit
hit
puberty
a certain age and they want to
and
do
they
something.
want to feel strong, because when you physically feel strong, it helps with your mental toughness.
Right. Yeah.
And for men, that's so important. If you're mentally tough, then you have self-discipline. If you have self-discipline, you have self-control, and yada, yada, yada. That all leads to all the other things. Your ambition, your ability to follow through with things, your ability to keep your word. That's huge.
Right.
If you can keep your word to yourself, you can keep your word to other people, you become very high value to them as well. Those relationships become very important, and people rely on you. They learn to depend on you, and you actually learn how to take responsibility for things.
So what are values that you would look for in, I guess you could say, like, let's say, for example, your daughters, okay, and they're about to meet a boy. What are some values that you're looking at for them? What would you like them to have in that suitor or that boy that comes along?
Okay, so for young men, I think it would be very similar. I want, so let's just say teenage boys. Boys, I would love for you to focus on school. So you should be at least engaged, and putting the effort in at school.
Right.
Any kind of sport or physical activity that you can stay engaged in, huge bonus. And if you're old enough, get a part-time job. Learn how to balance your time and learn how to manage that. Learn how
Right.
to take responsibility. Learn how to take direction from people. School is one thing, but when you're out in the working world, or if you decide to go out into business, those learning how to navigate people and customers and businesses.
Yes.
That's
Interactions.
interactions. That is a huge factor in your success in life,
Right.
right? So learning how to manage yourself in all those different types of situations. I think if you have those three things as a very young man, then you're on a good road,
Yeah.
certainly. And for women, I mean, for young girls, I think it's very similar. Like I've encouraged my girls to, they both work part-time. School is always very important. So being able to, staying focused on school, doing well in school, and doing some sort of physical activity, whether it's a sport, whether it's an art, just staying physically fit, and being sort of having that healthy body image of not focusing on looks per se, but focusing more on what can I do, how can I perform really well, and how can I love my body the way it is.
Yeah.
So all of those things are really, really important. As you get older, I think if you're single, say in your 20s and 30s, a lot of men and women are obviously focusing on sort of their career, on
Yes,
setting long-term goals,
right.
looking for a partner. And so looking at what you can bring to the table is going to be key for that. I always say that relationships are not 50-50. Relationships are 100.
100. Yeah.
And
That's two people putting 100% into the
100% in.
relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So for me, like I look at, say, all of these values and I say, yes. I mean, I want somebody who's ambitious. I want somebody who's confident, definitely financially stable. Like that was, But I also want someone who has a zest for life and has all of these, qualities where there's a whole list of variety of things that make them who they are. So this is almost a little bit rigid in having this list put together of what it should be like. I think we can't put everybody into a box and say, this is how you should be as an individual. I mean, we all have, like I said in several other talks, is that we're all different. We all come from a variety of different backgrounds, are raised differently. We perceive society differently. We have different experiences that define and make us who we are. We have different situations. Like some people don't have the luxury of, of going to the gym or being confident and, have dealt with some trauma. And I think nowadays we're seeing a lot of kids experiencing this trauma. I don't know about you, but I'm seeing it a
Yeah.
lot where, young kids and boys and girls are experiencing trauma in their lives. It's
Yeah.
anxiety, it's depression, it's mental
Yeah.
instability,
There's a
no
huge
sense of
upsurge.
like centeredness and focus. So if I can say anything and kind of just to like wrap things up, it would be to say all of this is really in the end, it's up to you. Like it's up to you as an individual to make those like small micro changes to change your life and to build those things for yourself. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And at the end of the day, yes, you're going to have your likes and your dislikes and certain things
Right.
that you're looking for in a partner. But if you really want, again, I always talk about it from this healthy dynamic of masculine and feminine. A strong masculine man is going to have the qualities of protector, provider, support, logic, reason, organization, and a healthy feminine woman is going to be able to complement him
Right.
through her attention, through her compassion, through that softness that she brings into the relationship, and she stays loyal to him.
Right.
Right. And
Yes.
so that, again, that's a really beautiful dynamic where they can balance each other out. So I don't know. I kind of agree with everything that's going on the internet about this high value man and
I'd
high
rather them push
value
that than
women.
anything else, right? At
Yeah,
least they're pushing a positive message to say, hey,
I think so.
there's nothing wrong with you trying to achieve a little more and trying to push yourself to become all of these things.
Yes.
Although I think it's how do you say it?
It can be
Imperfect.
tricky.
It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
lot. It's a lot of
Yeah.
pressure,
It
right?
is a
To be
lot of
like, this is
pressure.
what you need to be. But I think it's it's positive messaging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. All right. Well, I guess that's our episode for today.
I think you're a high value woman.
Oh, well, thank you. I think you're a high value woman
Thank
as
you,
well. That's why
honey.
we're here.
Yes, that's why we're here.
All right.
Until next time.
Until next time.
Okay.
We'll see you then.
Bye.